What's going on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and today we're going to show you all around the Verde Valley. That includes Sedona, Jerome, Cottonwood, and so much more. We're going to show you 37 things to do. Let's go. First area we're going to explore is Sedona, and this here is TLAQUEPAQUE, which is a traditional Mexican village with art galleries and shopping. It's a popular place with locals and tourists to come and get together. Sometimes they do markets and events here. So definitely add this beautiful little neighborhood village to your list when in Sedona. And as we continue to show you around Sedona in the Verde Valley, I want to let you know we arrived here in late fall. That's why you can see the autumn colors in the trees. This was actually early December. Sedona and the Verde Valley is a Four Seasons tourist destination, so it doesn't matter when you show up here, you're gonna get awesome experience no matter what. Now we're in downtown Sedona, known for its tasty restaurants and food here, also awesome shopping. They have great views all around of the Sedona Red Rocks, and it's walkable, very friendly for people on foot. So again, another place you can visit all 4 seasons and still have a good time here. I mean, look at this, breakfast or lunch with a view. Several restaurants have these kind of views. Also, crystal shops. People come here for the spiritual arts. They come here to get crystals. If you're into that kind of thing, they're gonna have a lot of these shops here. It's not for everyone, but hey, it's something to do when in Sedona. And if by chance it is your first time in Sedona, you may want to actually book a tour. They have the pink Jeeps, which are popular. Even if it's not your first time here, if you've never done a tour, this is a good way to familiarize yourself with the area. Pink Jeep off-road adventures. They also have horseback riding, wine tours, golfing, so something along those lines. Fun activity to do up here. You can also book a helicopter tour. But if paying for a tour isn't quite your thing because maybe you want to save some money, consider doing a hike like Cathedral Rock. This is an amazing hike. There are many different hikes across Sedona, but this one here is really one of the best ones. It is a bit of a short hike, but it's very strenuous. It's not very easy, and the most difficult part is when you get to the top because the trail becomes narrow and a lot more rocky. So do keep that in mind if you're someone who is not looking for a difficult hike. This one is a little bit more challenging. But don't let that stop you because the views are amazing. Now we're going to drive Oak Creek Canyon here. This is considered the most scenic drive in all of Arizona. If you haven't done it, you really have to. And essentially what you're doing is going from Sedona to Flagstaff along 89A. The canyon is about half of that adventure. Now, I will say in the summertime, Slide Rock here gets very popular, so keep that in mind. That means that the Oak Creek Canyon Road along 89A will be very congested, and sometimes you can't find parking, and it's at maximum capacity because Slide Rock is so famous. If you wanted to enjoy Slide Rock without the crowds, I'd recommend going up on a Tuesday or a Wednesday earlier in the morning before noon if you wanted to avoid crowds. But if you don't mind crowds, show up on the weekend like everyone else does and have at it. It's just not for me. But in all seriousness, this is really nature's water park right here. It's truly amazing. There are a few other areas along the Oak Creek that are a little bit more calm and have some lagoons and Edenic type environments. It reminds me a bit of Fern Gully in some of these places along Oak Creek. And with that being said, definitely getting out there and hiking along Oak Creek, various different trails, even going up onto the ridges that have these majestic views looking down. The variety of flora and fauna around here is also truly spectacular. The best time of year to do a hike up in here would probably be around October for the fall colors or spring around April. Now this should go without saying, but please make sure you pick up all your trash and don't do anything to destroy the natural habitat. And another hike you may consider is the Birthing Caves. It gives you a great view looking down into the Sedona Chaparral area with many shrubs and small trees. This is a very unique high desert, low pine tree area with juniper and agave, prickly pears, and then look at these views from the Birthing Cave. Absolutely spectacular. And that's the thing with Sedona, there's so many different hikes. And here's a really awesome bridge. This here is called Migley Bridge. Going across the Oak Creek Canyon area on 89A, you can also park on the side of the road and hike around here, even walk down. The Sedona Red Rock country really is unique. It's on the level of what you'd find in Utah with Arches or Zion National Park. Desert Southwest of America really is special because of this red rock. And if you're one of those types of people who like rustic old Sedona, then check out Don Hole's Cabins. This is right here in the heart of Oak Creek. There's many different accommodations you can stay at around the Sedona area, but if you get a chance to stay in Oak Creek Canyon at least one night, wow, what an experience that would be, huh? In the Oak Creek Canyon area, they have Harding Spring. This is an area where you can actually drink the water fresh from the spring. People bring their canteens or water jugs just to fill up with this fresh mountain spring water. And if Don Holes is booked up, you can check out Briar Patch Inn and see if they've got availability. There's also a few campgrounds around here, so it just depends on the time of the week and time of year whether or not there's going to be availability. Weekends and the summertime book very quickly out here. Now we're here at the Sedona Heritage Museum. You can learn about the history of Sedona. She helped establish the family farm and general store in town, also a Bible school teacher. And her name was Sedona Schnebley. You also see there's a Schnebley Hill here. There's also the Jordan family, which were also farmers. As you can see, the history of Sedona goes back to a lot of farming. Now what we're going to do is head to Cottonwood in the Verde Valley area. This is about 45 minutes to an hour away. And this is the old town of Cottonwood. So when you do all of this in your trip, you're gonna really feel like you're getting to know the heart of central Arizona. Old Town Cottonwood is located right here on Main Street. There's around 60 different businesses. This place really gets going when they have an event or a market going. But coming down here on the weekend, you'll notice there's lots of wineries because the Verde Valley is known for grapes, which lead to what? Wine. Check out some of the old antique stores or maybe thrift stores down here because there's a lot of different cool items you can find here. Historical stuff, rocks, or even tools that the miners used to use. You never know what you'll find. And as with any town in the old Wild West, you'll find these historic jailhouses. This one here in Cottonwood is now turned into an actual store, which is cool because the shop owner has turned a negative into a positive. And as you can see, it's very bright and full of vibrance inside here. Now let's talk about wine tasting in the Cottonwood area a little bit more in detail. So there are 7 different wineries. 3 of them are just on the outskirts of Cottonwood. Also, this is very close to Sedona. So if you're looking for some wine tasting, there's several different places you can check out, like Burning Tree Cellars, Pillsbury Wine Company. There's also the Arizona Stronghold Vineyards. Seems like the most popular one is going to be the Merkin Vineyards Tasting Room. So if you really love wine, that's a big reason to come up to the Verde Valley, Cottonwood, Sedona area. Now let's talk about old structures around here. This here is the historic clubhouse. You can see it's made of real rock. Real rock structures get its inspiration from the local indigenous people. And with all these activities we're doing, at some point in time, you're going to have to eat. So there's many different restaurants that you can try. This here is the burger station, Malls and Fries. It seems like every time I come up to Cottonwood, I stop here and get a burger. And definitely when you're up here in the Verde Valley, try to eat at some of the diners. They're so much better than the fast food. And I touched on this previously, but check out Larry's Antiques and Things. There are a couple different antique shops, rock stores down here. But this Larry's Antiques, oh my goodness, I went in there, I was like, wow, this is a blast from the past for sure. That's one of my favorite parts about northern Arizona is it feels like you're back in time. Here in Cottonwood, there is the Jail Trail Riverwalk. It's really cool because you get to walk along the Verde River up here and they have flumes. And the nature around here is really nice. They have the Arizona giant cottonwood trees all up and down the Verde. And you'll never know what kind of animals you'll find around here in the riparian ecosystem. As you know, Verde in Spanish means green, and here you can see why they call it the Green River or the Verde. When you float down the river, this is really popular to do, especially in the summer months, May, June, especially when the water levels are higher, because by the time August, September rolls around, the water levels tend to get low, except for when there's a heavy monsoon. Now from Cottonwood in the Verde Valley, we're going to go up the hill a bit. This here is Cleopatra Hill, very famous area for copper mining in the early 19th century. You'll recognize it because of the big J on the hill. So here we are exploring downtown Jerome, the old ghost town area. Although technically Jerome is not a ghost town, except for the fact that it does have paranormal activity here. But technically, a ghost town is a town where there is literally no one left but the ghosts of the past. Jerome has activity and tourism up here, so it's not a ghost town unless you include the paranormal activity, which they say does exist. Some of the areas you might want to check out are going to include the Bartlett Hotel, which is where you can throw your coins into that toilet there. And then they have the Spirit Room, which you'll see coming up. But yeah, there's a few different iconic areas along the downtown windy roads of Jerome that you want to stop at. I definitely recommend getting out of the car and walking up and down the hills here and going inside the stores, the restaurants, and boutiques. I would have to say, if you can get a hotel up here in Jerome, maybe an Airbnb, and stay the night, you're in for a very unique experience, especially if you walk up and down downtown at night and do the pub hopping. Maybe consider staying at a place like the Connor Hotel right here. It just depends on whether or not there's availability. If you want to pay the price, you're not going to get the Marriott or the Hilton type experience in one of these hotels, but you do get a once-in-a-lifetime experience up here in the old Jerome. Jerome really peaked in 1929 when the price of copper was at its peak, but then during the Depression, the copper price fell off, and so did Jerome right then and there. At one point, it was Arizona's third largest city with around 15,000 people here. One of my favorite stores to walk around and go inside is the Nelly Bly. So they've got a great view outside, but cool little telescopes, kaleidoscopes, really a nice shop. Also, I want to let you guys know that as we continue to show you around Sedona, we did recently make a Flagstaff things to do and Prescott things to do that are ready for you going into 2024. Now for the creepy stuff or the paranormal activity, this here is the Jerome Grand Hotel. It was originally built in 1926 and it served as the General Hospital until 1950. They say around 9,000 people died here, and that's why they consider it to be a haunted hotel. And you can actually stay here. If you're looking for paranormal activity, you might just find it. It was also abandoned for 44 years. Just down the way from the hotel is the surgeon's house. I mean, this area really is unique. It's unlike a place you'll find, and it's really unique, unlike anywhere else you'll find in the country. Now here we are at the Haunted Hamburger. Again, if you've got an appetite, you want a fresh beer and a fresh hamburger, right here, open from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. They also got some great views up here looking down into the Verde Valley. Now here we are at the New State Shops, and another cool area right there at the bend in the road in downtown is called the New State Shops. This is just another area to walk around in a very unique environment where you get these cool views walking around the other side of the road facing towards the valley, and maybe doing some shopping here, of course, because after all, it's a shop. Now what we're going to do is actually go check out one of the old mines. So this is the Gold King Mine. It's along the Ghost Town Road here, where the pavement ends, essentially is what they call it. But you can walk around this old mine here and maybe even do a tour. Ages 13 to 79 are $12, ages 6 to 12 are $7, and 5 and under are free. Also 80 and over, you guys are free too. Some fun activities you can do here: gold panning, which is 18 bucks, gem panning, crack and geode. Also, they have the 3-in-1 package, which gives you all three for around $38. They even have some animals around here you can feed for $1.50. So great bargain. Definitely something to do for a couple hours. Keep the kids busy. Give them some insight into the history of Arizona. And even if you don't bring kids, still a great activity for people on a date or just wanting to learn more about Arizona. And hey, check out these friendly burros. So now that we've explored downtown Jerome, we're going to start heading back down the hill towards the Jerome Historic Park area. And now we're going to check out the Little Daisy Mine. So this is about 5 to 10 minutes away from downtown historical Jerome. And here you'll find the historic Audrey Shaft headframe at the Little Daisy Mine, the largest wooden headframe still standing in Arizona. It was completed in 1918. The shaft is 1,900 feet deep. Wow. It's supported by concrete lining and cross tunnels that are about every 100 feet. Oh wait, I almost forgot. Before you go down the hill, you can get a really nice scenic viewpoint here on State Route 89A, which is the road that goes in between Jerome and Prescott. And if you look down, you can see great views from the scenic viewpoint just up above Jerome here. All right, so now we're here in Clarkdale. This is actually the location where the Verde Valley Railroad is. So for those of you looking to ride that train, this is where you're going to catch it, here in Clarkdale. And riding that actual train is considered one of the top activities you'll do in all of Arizona, and certainly one of the top things you'll do here in Verde Valley. Now, the ticket price is $119 per person from May until September, and then $109 per person from November to February, and then June and August. So the prices fluctuate just a little bit. Clarkdale is a bit of a sleepy town, but there is some history and some museums that are worth checking out for sure. It is got some history. Now we're going to talk about Tuzagut. Now this is a really impressive Native American archaeological site that sits right up on a ridge, right where the Verde River meets a couple creeks that come together here. Now, starting around 1000 AD, the Sinagua people built this 110-room Tuzagut Pueblo, and the tribe was mostly into agriculture because the farming here would have been very good, a very fertile area with the river being right here. And then they say around 1,400 people lived here at one point. It's located just below the Mogollon Rim, in between Cottonwood and Clarkdale. Now here we are at the world's largest Kokopelli statue here. This is in Camp Verde. A Kokopelli is a deity that symbolizes fertility, and it's usually depicted as a humpback flute player. If you wanted to learn more about the Kokopelli, you would look into the history associated with the Hopi tribe. So anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video of Sedona and the Verde Valley area. If you did, smash the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel and becoming a channel member to support us as we continue to show you around. See you guys on the next one. You can watch Prescott Things to Do or Flagstaff Things to Do next by clicking one of these videos.